So now we're going to look at the key concept in the study of food and class. Apakah konsep dalam food and class? Okay, class, we know that adalah the key determinant of access to service and social goods. So dengan kelas ni, dia menjadi salah satu the key untuk masuk ataupun untuk access kepada services and also social goods. And sometimes class also associated with the education level and also the asset ownership. Berapa banyak you ada aset juga kadang-kadang dikategorikan sebagai kelas. There are two key theories that addressed by the Karl Marx and also by the Max Weber. Okay, Marx and also Weber. So Marx ni dia cakap, okay, kelas ni adalah salah satu didifferentiatekan, okay, address in terms the perspective of who owns the means of production in society. So when that person own the society or own that, macam kita kata CEO of the company, dan kita panggilkan dia sebagai bourgeois. So bourgeois ni those who own the means of production. The working class, the one that work with the society, the one that produce the things in the society, that we call as a proletariat. Jadi ini, okay, this is contoh of the bourgeois. This is the proletariat. Okay, so Marx kata perbezaan kelas ni adalah berdasarkan kepada who owns the means of production in society. Okay, so Marx kata there are three classes dalam capitalism, but they are determined by who owns the means of the productions. Again, those who owns the means of production or has the capacity to own. So macam saya cakap tadi, dia ada the bourgeois or the proletariat. The bourgeois ni, they owns them but does not work them. Dia ada the company but dia tak kerja pun. Dia tak run. Dia tak buat kerja pun. Okay, yang buat kerja adalah the proletariat. So usually the bourgeois ni the higher social class and the proletariat ni adalah the lower social class. Tapi Weber pula dia kata kelas ni determined by the asset ownership. Okay, maknanya asset tu who is the owner, and this results of the interplay between economic standing and power. So economic standing ni adalah dari segi status ataupun prestige that refer to macam mana individu tu esteem or evaluated in a given social context, and dari segi power sama ada refer to that which allows individuals to get their way in society. So kalau tadi, again, saya cakap kalau untuk Marx dia kata kelas ni adalah dari segi who owns the means of the production in the society, but bagi Weber dia kata determined by the asset ownership. And we know that social class, there are three categories. They are low, middle and also high. So low middle class ni selalu kita associate with blue collar or people that have unskilled occupation, contoh macam service industry, high level occupation, those who are earning very low salary, kadang-kadang juga associated with social deprivation, they have a lower class of education, they have less access to basic commodities such as housing, healthcare and food. These are we call as a low social class. Kalau middle class pula, dia tend to be broad in high income compared to lower social class, but however they are smaller in more developing context with emerging economies. Maknanya dia kalau dalam satu konteks yang sangat membangun dari segi ekonomi, dia dikategorikan sebagai smaller in that society. So for the higher social class, or we call it a higher incomes, they have a higher education degrees, and they are more in terms of occupation, they are more prestigious, lebih kaya. And jika dibanding, kalau kita lihat balik kepada Marx punya views tadi, so this group of higher class ni lah dia yang control the means of the production, is the bourgeois, the bourgeois. And macam mana there are three classes, they are separate. So the separation between the lower and the high class is detected by the level of social inequalities. Dari segi diet berbeza. Okay, you can see, you can watch the movies of Titanic. You can see the differences in terms of the way they eat for the rich class and also for the poor class. In terms of health outcomes, usually the poor people, they are more vulnerable to get diseases compared to the rich people. In terms of educational attainment, the rich people, they are more they are lucky ataupun dia lebih banyak mendapat pendidikan, education compared to the poor people. Okay, food, we know that what is food, okay, and substance that nourish and sustain life. What is edible substance varies according to cultural and social context. Sometimes people, they are very deprived ataupun extreme poverty. They are forced to eat something what we call inedible, compared to kita kata food adalah satu edible substance. But for the poverty people, sometimes they are forced to eat inedible substance such as dirt, in order for them to quench the hunger. And these instances are the example of how food, while an everyday concept, is actually interdependent to the social cultural context in which people live. Eating, we know eating adalah salah satu act, adalah salah satu kelakuan, act. And these are the essential of act to survive. We need to eat because we want to survive. So this is salah satu our action. And this process of eating juga dipengaruhi oleh different factors. Dan eating ni juga bukan setakat factor, dia juga involve dalam several steps. When we want to eat, first what we do? We select the food. Once we select the food, and then we cook the food or we prepare the food. Then after that, baru kita makan. And this each steps or this each process of act of eating, kalau kita sedar, is influenced by the wide array of social and the economical, the biological, the cultural, and also the environmental factors semasuk kelas. Orang yang higher class, dia punya food selection adalah berbeza dengan orang yang lower class. Maybe for the higher class, the food selections is more they look at in terms of the quality of the meat. Contoh, kalau untuk lower class ni, tak kisahlah apa daging pun dia boleh pilih. In terms of the cooking, maybe orang the higher class ni cara masak dia lain, smoke dan sebagainya lah, dengan guna all the kind of technologies. Tapi kalau orang miskin ni hanya masak macam biasa saja atas api. Okay, cara makan juga berbeza. Okay, kalau orang, orang yang higher class, the way they eat, in terms of the table manner tu, okay, berbeza dengan cara orang-orang yang lower class. Okay, cara pegang sudu, cara makan, cara suap, cara susun sudu dan sebagainya. Tapi kalau orang yang lower class ni, kalau makan daging tu pakai tangan pun boleh jadi asalkan diorang makan. So, benda ni semua sebenarnya dipengaruhi oleh faktor-faktor yang sering nyatakan sebentar tadi. And selain itu juga, the socio-economic circumstances juga mempengaruhi the type and availability of cooking facilities and juga the availability of space for eating in the home. Kita tahu bahawa bila perbezaan antara socio-economic ni juga, dia telah mempengaruhi jenis dan bagaimana kita ada facility of cooking in the house and also bagaimana space makan. Kalau kita lihat the middle and the lower and the high social class, they have different type and availability of cooking facilities and also they have different type of space for eating in their home. And food selection is influenced by class and factors associated with it. Dan juga bukan setakat facility and also space, food choices also depends on the time available to procure and prepare food, eat, clean after the eating episode. Maknanya time available tu juga juga dibezakan mengikut social class. Kita tengok individual dalam social class, low social class, they have limited by the time available to cook or the lack of cooking resources. compared to the higher class. Kalau kita dapat tengok the higher class ni, they have better access to technology and high level. Kalau kita dulu nak masak, contoh saya bagi contoh yang paling mudah. Dulu kalau kita nak masak, orang kata nak masak dodol, ia ambil masa yang berjam-jam. Tapi ni dengan sekarang ni, dengan ada yang alat, apa orang panggil tu, saya lupa yang sampai RM7,000 tu, okay, dalam masa 10 minit dah boleh buat dodol. So you can see that orang benda-benda yang high class sajalah yang boleh beli that kind of thing. Termix tak salah saya. So actually this is also can differentiate between the social class. Dan selalunya orang yang higher class ni, they have made to help them in terms of the preparation in the kitchen. Dari segi cooking and nutrition knowledge pun juga, okay, because when we have knowledge, sebenarnya kita telah mempengaruhi the notion of quality yang akan mempengaruhi food selection. Kita tahu tadi, kita tahu bahawa selalunya orang yang poor class ni, they have low education level compared to the high class. So bila diorang tidak ada knowledge in terms of food quality, so dari segi pemilihan makanan juga diorang akan have a poor quality diet compared to the higher class. They have a good education, and they have good in terms of the knowledge, then they have the better in terms of the food selection. Contoh dari segi brand, okay, dari segi accessibility, the notion of what is considered healthy or not. Kalau orang kaya ni, dia kata they have the education. When they have the education, they know which one is macam mana nak cara food labeling, contoh macam mana nak pilih makanan-makanan yang sihat, and whether people care about the health affects the food. Kalau orang-orang yang poor people, they just select whatever the food that they have as long as they can eat. And these all actually the main influence in food choices adalah food preferences. Okay, social class influence the formation of eating habits in early life. This is true, because kita macam saya cakap tadi, our eating habits actually built as part of our upbringing and also the environment where we live, and these variables which are affected on income and social standing. Kita membesar dengan cara bagaimana kita dibesarkan, income, and also macam mana keadaan sosial di keliling kita. Benda itulah yang telah mempengaruhi our eating habits. Termasuklah food and drink that individual exposed to as infant and children, which then influence a set appeals to their subsequent taste. Sebagai contoh, Kelantanese people synonymous with sweet food. Kita tahu bahawa kita belajar yang pada topik yang lepas, contohnya orang-orang lebih, kalau orang-orang miskin dulu, they are preferred to eat more kepada traditional food. Orang higher class sekarang ni dia more kepada western food. Kalau dari kecil kita telah expose anak-anak kita dengan cara pemakanan yang mahal, when they grow up and then they have to be in the certain places, they have a lower social class, sebenarnya dia boleh susah nak adapt with that kind of situation. So ni semua adalah berdasarkan juga kepada what we call as a set base to their subsequent taste. Macam mana budak-budak tu kita expose daripada kecil lagi. And classes distinguish themselves through different tastes reflected in different consumption pattern, which are these influenced by the purchasing power. Saya sebenarnya banyak kali repetition. Sebenarnya nota ni banyak repetition. So benda-benda ni akan dipengaruhi oleh socio-economic status. When you have money, you have the purchasing power. So you know to decide which food that you want to buy, which food that have a high quality and healthy compared to other food. A study conducted by Pure, they studied taste and preferences across different classes dekat French society. And from these findings, this study, they found that the taste of the higher class often dominates the taste of the whole society. Maknanya, the whole society punya taste adalah ditentukan oleh taste of higher class people. And which is, diorang yang akan desaidkan mana makanan yang dikatakan sebagai tasteless, mana yang dikatakan sebagai tasty, atau mana yang dikatakan sebagai indesirable. Dan juga mereka, different members of different class, distinguish one another based on different things they own and acquire. So same members of the high class dictate the preferred taste, those in lower class will aspire to emulate taste those in the high class.